So I want to do a run through of a C2100 monitor and a Massey 9980 swather. So the first power up, just go ahead and boot it up. You're looking for the steering wheel to show up on the left hand side. We're just going to hit check mark for that. Remember that you have to turn on the controller and dome on top. On this series, the button's up there. Sometimes it's a black rocker switch, either on the side or it'll be up on the front on a panel there. The 97s had a switch over on this side that was a black rocker switch. What you're looking for is once you get it on and it starts booting up, right here a red steering wheel will appear, and you click on it to get it to start loading, and then that will get you started for the auto guidance portion. Some things to keep in mind: that when you're using guidance on this, you have a couple things that can lock you out from steering and that ability. This parking switch, they call it a roading lockout. When it pops up as an error message, this will say the roading lockout is engaged, or you can kind of see that this sits in the neutral position. That's another type of roading lockout, that if that's not in the right position before you move this park switch, it will also throw that same message. The other thing to notice is that when you're going and you try to use this auto button to engage it, it will not actually work until the header is on. So we've got the steering wheel. Now it's going to switch this little corner to the auto guidance screen, so that'll be loading. But yeah, you have to make sure that your header is on or this does not work. Otherwise, you can engage it manually from the button up here in the corner that's the steering wheel button. So letting that engage, and then what it's trying to do is when it boots up, it needs to initialize the controller and start talking to the machine and the CAN controller, and it'll start picking up satellites, and it needs to see the sky for just a minute or two for it to actually be fully locked on. And so that's all it's doing when it first boots up. Normally this is not a big deal because you get in the swather, you boot it up. As long as you remember to hit that button up in the corner to get the controller turned on and let it start working, while you're getting ready, you've got the machine fired up, you're driving to the field, or you're getting in position, it can be doing its work off to the side, getting the controller ready. So now we can see we've got information here telling us which correction source we're using. In this case, we're using WAS. This is telling us how many satellites we're using. As it's using 9, and we can click on it, it'll tell us how many are being tracked. If you get OmniStar, this GLONASS number is an option with OmniStar correction, and you'll be able to see more satellites, but it'll prioritize the best signal of the satellites that it can see. And the GLONASS will give it a better backup so that it's less likely to lose signal, as well as be more accurate. So we're just going to back up. This is our main run screen. In this case, we've got our engage button up here. This is kind of our status. It's saying it's not ready because of the things I mentioned about the lockout, and the speed is too slow. It will not go if the speed is too slow. So we've got our engage button here. We've got our settings here and our waylines. So normally when you get in here, the only thing you need to really do is you need to set up your wayline and then engage it every time you turn around. So we've got our waylines. We can either edit or we can add one. So in this case, this is the default next name. You can give them names so that you can remember, you can save lines, come back to them and use them again. So we're just going to use the default name. The different options are an AB, which is a straight line. A plus is also a straight line, but you set your A point and give it a direction like on a compass heading. And that works well for fields that you know where it's supposed to be, but maybe the field isn't quite square, but you want to make these lines go a certain direction, or you want to change in reference to them. Contour is the curved, so that you've got a field that just has this bend to it all across the field and you just want to match it. Pivot is just as it sounds. You make an AB line, but it records it, tells which direction you're going, and then makes an imaginary pivot based on what its curve, angle, and all that is doing. So in this case, we're just going to do an AB, and then what it says is it gives you the steps for going through. So what you want to do, you want to get in position. So we'll get over just a little bit so that we know we have enough room here, and then we're going to hit our A point so that our A point is at the beginning of where we want the line to be. So we hit A, it gives us the instructions saying the finish point is that far away from the A point. It has a minimum distance, and we have to go at least that far. I'm going to go just a little bit further to make sure it's sitting where I want it to. Make sure I'm lined up that way. Then the green check mark's there, so it says we're plenty far enough. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the B point. So now we've got a line that starts showing up. So that steering wheel in the bottom right hand corner is telling us if we're ready to go or not. Every time I'm moving the steering wheel, it's saying, hey, I can't do anything, because that's called manual override. So you go ahead and hit engage, and it starts to lock on, and you've got your off distance. So from the line, that's how far off you are. So that's something to keep track of. You've got other information up here, but I was able to engage it from here without the header on. But what we can do is we can turn the header on, go ahead and turn around, and it'll follow you, but you watch that steering wheel and it ends up saying that, hey, you know, I can't engage because you're turning the steering wheel. That's a manual override. In addition to, it's going to keep going red if I'm going too slow. Too slow is anywhere about a mile an hour or slower, just because it can't reliably do that for you. Okay, so I want to get semi-close to the line, because I don't want it to give me whiplash or do any damage to the machine. I'll let it get semi-close there. Go ahead and engage it. That works from the side, but then we can also do it from the steering wheel, or from the F&R handle, and it will also engage it. So then when you're done, there's nothing else to really do. You can just shut it off. There's no saving, there's no backing up. You just leave it, and the next time you turn it on, it will go back to the last line that you were using.